going on, Matt? Anything going on?
I tell you what, one thing I was thinking about this week, NBA draft. Everybody gets excited.
Had a local guy.
Yeah, I got a public service announcement here for everybody from a few of the stories I've heard coming out of the draft.
Yeah?
Watch what you put on social media.
Yeah, they talk about that a lot.
There has been a couple of different stories I've read. One was the Chicago Bulls draft pick, Bobby Portis out of Arkansas. And one of the things he was asked about was a tweet he did 4 years ago, which he probably would have been 15, 16 at the time, something like that, where he said some derogatory things about Derrick Rose and the Bulls. And everybody,
nice.
Yeah, and everybody wants to know about it. One of the Lakers draft picks had made a joke about Kobe Bryant and some of the legal troubles he's had in the past on Twitter like 3 or 4 years ago.
So they dig it on him,
and everybody's asking about that, and and saying that he's gonna have to talk to Kobe Bryant about that and work that out. And I'm like, man, you've got to watch what you say. I was joking with somebody about it as I was reading these stories. It's like, can you imagine probably 20, 30 years from now, the political campaigns where people are going back to when these kids were teenagers and what they were writing on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. Well, you said you didn't like this, back when you were 16.
Now you have to prove it. Now you don't have to.
Exactly.
Back in the old days, you had to prove it. Now you don't have to anymore.
So that's my public service announcement.
Well, high school kids are bad at that, too.
They are, I know.
And I'm not trying to pick on any local kids, but sometimes kids put on stuff they shouldn't put on.
That's for sure.
And I mean like the language and maybe some of the pictures and things.
Yep.
And they don't think anybody sees that. You'd be surprised, just like you were saying there.
A lot of people see that, and they've got to think about, too, and, especially ones that, really are being recruited by schools and whatnot.
Big schools.
Or really any school.
Yeah,
but they've got to think about that because, number one, if you're a lower-level school, because you got to think about this, there's tens of thousands of players, maybe even hundreds of thousands of players out there that schools can bring in. So there's not a lot that differentiates, player A from player B. So whether it's a lower level, higher level, or whatever, they're going to look at these kind of things, and if there's any kind of issue or potential issue that they see, whether it's real or not, whether you were just trying to be funny on Twitter or if that's something you really think or feel, if they perceive a potential problem, they're going to move on to player B because there's really not much of a difference, and if player B is going to be less of a headache,
That's why kids are going to Snapchat, too.
Yeah.
Because that supposedly it's harder to find that stuff if you want to.
But I've heard of that stuff being tracked down too.
Or like a screenshot, you can take a screenshot of it and everything.
Well, and that's where some people are getting in trouble. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily out there, or it may be harder to get. I'm sure it's still out there. Anything you do on the internet is out there, but it's harder to get than your Twitter feed is or whatever. But I've heard of people getting in trouble because of screenshots and things like that from that type of thing.
And people are looking.
They are.
You don't have to worry about it. People are not ignoring that.
And it's more than just sports, too. I mean, potential jobs, things like that. I know plenty of people that,
You said what?
Yeah, if they put in a resume that, one of the first things they do is go check and see if you're on Facebook or Twitter and, try to find out what kind of person you are.
Yeah, there's nothing private. I've had people say, well, how did you find out about this?
Yeah.
I go, it's right there. Somebody else put it on there. It wasn't me that did it.
Right.
I mean, I can find out about stuff pretty easy now. It's like being your best friend and you don't even know the person.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah.
It is sad. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And most kids don't get that when they're young. Sorry, kids, you don't get that. But
Yeah. But think about those things.
Be a good class in high school, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be a very good one, actually.
Yeah, or early college. Say, here, kids, don't do this.
Right. Just think about what you're putting on, and that's the problem. Is it's such a knee-jerk.
When you're ticked or something.
It's the ability to get your thoughts out there quickly, but sometimes that's not always the best thing to do. Is to get your thoughts out quickly. Sometimes it's nice to sit back, think about what you want to say before you put it out there.
And most accounts on Twitter you can get onto. There's some that have the private, only the friends can see it.
Right.
And a lot more kids are doing that, especially ones that are getting recruited. You have to be on there. But, boy, you can go on anybody's and see that stuff.
Oh, yeah. You absolutely can.
And once you erase it, you don't erase it, folks.
Nope. It's it's out there.
And Facebook's not as bad because kids aren't on Facebook as much. They used to.
Right. Yeah, but
didn't you really get in trouble with Facebook? So
yeah,
those type of
you
things.
can, yeah. So
that's good.
Just something that was on my mind.
That was very good.
Yeah.
We had a good. Anything else you got? Words of wisdom today? I mean, we're in that time of the year where things are not really quieting down. Lots of stuff.
There's lots of stuff going on. We were talking before we came on about Josh Black.
Yes,
at Harlem.
From Harlem. You know, I'm sitting here going, Josh Black. trying to remember Josh Black.
Right.
Well, he's going to go to Illinois the way it sounds.
Right,
Play football.
And with linemen, that's why it's sometimes hard to remember them. Linemen don't always get all the credit in the world.
Only when they do something stupid.
That's usually what it is. So that's maybe why it's a little bit harder, to place them. But it's that time of year where kids are going to camps,
and that's what we were talking about, wasn't it?
Yeah, and getting noticed and things like that. And it feels like, and it's not too. And I'm not saying that anything's being done differently than it's been done in the past around here. That coaches are doing a better job now than they were, maybe 10 years ago. But it feels like more kids are getting noticed at these camps. Now, maybe it's just more talented kids coming through.
And you know what? Didn't he go to an Illinois camp, too? He went to a University of Illinois camp.
And that's where you get these things.
Yeah, but I didn't know you could do that, did you?
Oh, yeah.
They've been doing that for... Yeah, okay.
For years.
Because they got mad at Jim Harbaugh because he went from Michigan. He was doing them down in Indiana.
Right, well, and
they didn't
what people
like that
are getting mad about. Is that, they were going to different places doing these satellite camps. He was even trying to get down into the South.
Yeah.
Get into Texas or Florida or those kind of places, do these satellite camps. That's what people are mad about with that, is he was really trying to get way out of his area. I don't think the Southern schools liked that he was trying to come down there and get their players.
But he had his khaki pants on.
He did. Yeah.
But we've talked about it before with the LeBron James thing when he was in high school. It's getting to the place where high school has now become the new college for recruiting, because people live for those signing days now in all the sports, and there's so much more attention on kids, so they're getting more looked at. There's been ramped up on recruiting and stuff. It's just, our friend Mike Bath, who we had on, who's at Wyoming now,
right?
That guy's never home.
No.
As soon as the season ends, he's out recruiting everywhere across the whole country.
Yeah, I'm sure they almost like the season a little bit more because they can at least sleep in their own bed at night.
Yeah, be at home. Right?
They might still be working, 13, 14, 18 hours a day, but at least they can go home and sleep in their own bed.
Until I had somebody that I really knew that was in that, I thought, they don't really, in the off season. They're gone, buddy.
Yeah, there is no off season really anymore. But it really is, and it's all about the attention. And what I've noticed, and I haven't seen too much written about this, but I've noticed a lot more kids that are committing early.
And then decommitting.
And then decommitting before. But I think that's just part of the recruiting ploy on their part. If they can get that offer and make a commitment, that makes other people say, well, hey, why do they want this kid? We saw him a little bit. Maybe we need to look into him a little bit more. And I've seen kids, take steps up the ladder by saying, okay, I'm going to go here. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to go there now because this team's calling, or that kind of thing.
It's commonplace.
Yep.
It's just like in college where a kid goes to school, doesn't like the coach, and he transfers.
Yeah.
How many times? If they give you the roster of the guys they actually recruit and the transfers, you might be shocked.
And as long as you don't sign that letter of intent, you can.
That's the new thing, isn't it?
That is the new thing, is not signing that letter, because now you can move around anywhere you want. And I don't. On the one hand, I don't blame kids for that, because that national letter of intent is that's something else. I'm surprised that hasn't changed yet, and I think it will have some change here coming soon.
They'll give you a signing bonus.
Yeah.
That could be the next thing.
That'll probably be a big thing that happens soon, I'm sure.
It's scary, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. You know what? It's kind of like we've started to market the high school level because there was nothing else to market. We just went down to the next one.
Yeah, well, and so think what that's going to do to the middle school level here as the years go on.
Yeah, well, Chicago already does that.
Yeah,
8th grade recruiting is big in Chicago.
It is.
They may tell you it's not, but it's the biggest. It's bigger. Those kids get a letdown when they go to college.
Oh yeah, they really do. They really do, and it's not the players' fault, but I've read a lot of coaches, especially at the pro level, talking about how it is tough now to coach some of these players, because they go from probably the time they're 9, 10 years old.
Yeah.
Being told that they are the greatest thing in the world and everybody catering to them, because what's happened is the culture of winning has dropped all the way down to those lower levels. And don't get me wrong, it's always fun to win. You want to win when you play. But lower levels used to always be about development. Yes, when you got into the game setting, you're trying to win,
or having fun,
or that too. But yeah, it was having fun and development. Yes, when you're in the heat of the moment, you're trying to win the game. But it was never about trying to win the game, if that makes sense, even though that's what you're trying to do. Whereas now that's what it's all about. And they sacrifice now the fun and the development in the name of winning. If they've got a kid that is overly talented, they will just have him go win the game for them, even though he's not really learning how to play the game. And that's what happens is they get told they're so great all the way up, and they only learn to do things to win at the level that they're at. But when they get to that top level where everybody has the same talent level, that's where the development really shows. And the kids that have been developed, really rise to the top at that point when they become professionals as adults. And the ones that never really got that development because everybody were, catering to their every need and just trying to rely on them to win a game, and they never were able to develop their overall game. Those are the ones that end up flaming out.
Yep. You tell them enough, they'll believe it.
Exactly.
We're going to take a time out. We'll be back with more of the State Line Sports Hour right here on News Talk 1440 WROK.
The Hugh Hewitt Show.